I'm making this video in light of the unjust murders that have been happening for a while. Now, what's happening more recently is that they seem to be closer together and more intense. And if anybody is at all aware of the process of birth, I'm a mother, so I am, and I'm pretty sure other women are. It happens like that. There's pre-labor, which are called Braxton Hicks contractions. And they are contractions that are not real, and they're not going to cause you to go into labor. But they happen so that your body can begin to prepare for this time that is to come. And so they don't really hurt, but they make you stop and they make you focus on them. The next phase is actual pre-labor. So the body starts to transition, the woman's belly begins to drop, and the baby gets into position. After that point, there is the time where active labor begins. And so active labor is when contractions are between, let's say 5 to 10 minutes apart, and they last for longer than an hour. So at that time, a woman knows that she's in active labor. As labor gets closer to delivery, the contractions begin to get closer and closer together and more intense until this baby is finally birthed. And the pain is so unbearable that the woman and even the child begin to experience this point of distress. And it's only lifted once that child is brought forth into the world. Okay? This is very, very similar to what's happening right now within our nation and with our people. When a nation is being birthed, and we saw this for the first time for our nation, is in the Exodus, where it started off where it was fine. A people come into a nation, which was Egypt at the time, and everything is fine, and they're having a good time, and there's a growing process. But as the nation grew inside of this system, it began to get too big for Egypt. And what happened is the birthing process, where it got uncomfortable, the baby got too big, the baby being the nation that would be Israel, and it had to be purged out, and it had to be brought out. The same thing is happening right now, and I'm going to read something that's probably very familiar to a lot of you, and it's out of the book of Jeremiah, and it's Jeremiah chapter 30, and it starts like this at verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, saying, Write for yourselves all the words that I have spoken to you in a scroll. For look, days are coming, declares Yahuwah, when I will restore the fortunes of my people Israel and Judah, says Yahuwah, and I will bring them back to a land that I will give to their ancestors, and they will take possession of it. Now these are the words that Yahuwah spoke concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Yahuwah, we have heard a sound of trembling, terror, and there is no peace. Ask, please, and see whether a male can bear a child. Why do I see every strong man with his hands on his loins like a woman giving birth? And why are all their faces changed to paleness? Alas, for the day is great, and there is none like it. And it is a time of distress for Jacob, yet from it he will be delivered. And it will happen on that day, declares Yahuwah of hosts, I will break his yoke from your neck, and your bonds I will tear to pieces. And strangers will no longer let him work as a slave, but they will serve Yahuwah their Elohim, and Dawid their king, whom I will raise up for them. But you must not fear, my servant Jacob, declares Yahuwah, and you must not be dismayed, Israel. For look, I am going to save you from afar, and your offspring from the land of their captivity. And Jacob will return, and he will be at rest, and he will be at ease, and there will be no one who makes him afraid. For I am with you, declares Yahuwah, to save you. For I will make a complete destruction of all nations to which I scattered you, but I will not make a complete destruction, but to you. And I will chastise you to the measure, and I will not leave you entirely unpunished. For thus saith Yahuwah, your injury is incurable. Your wound is overcome by sickness, and there is no one who pleads your cause, for your boil there is no healing for you. All your lovers have forgotten you. They do not care for you. I have struck you with the blow of an enemy, the punishment of the cruel, because of the greatness of your guilt, and your sins are numerous. Why do you cry because of your wound? Your pain is incurable. Because of the greatness of your guilt, your sins are vast. I have done these things to you, therefore, All those who devour you will be devoured, and all your foes, all of them, will go into captivity, and those who plunder you will be plundered, and all those who plunder you I will make as a plunder. For I will present healing to you, and I will heal you of your wounds, declares Yahuwah, because they have called you an outcast, saying, it is Zion, there is no one who cares for her. Thus saith Yahuwah, look, I will restore the fortunes of the tents of Jacob, and I will have compassion on his dwellings, and the city will be rebuilt upon this mount, and the citadel fortress stand on its rightful site. And thanksgiving and the sound of merrymakers will come out of them, and I will make them numerous, and they will not be few. And I will make them honored, and they will not be lowly. And their children will be as of old, and their community will be established before me. And I will punish all their oppressors, and their noble will be from them. And their ruler will come out of their midst, and I will bring him near, and he will approach me. For who is he that would pledge his heart to approach me, declares Yahuwah. And you will be to me a people, and I will be your Elohim. Look, the storm of Yahuwah, wrath has gone forth, a whirling tempest. It will whirl upon the head of the wicked. The burning anger of Yahuwah will not turn back until his doing, and until his accomplishing the plans of his mind. In the last days, you will understand it. People, we are living in these times, and there is no other explanation. You can try and search and find and plead with the land of your captivity for your freedom and for your rights, but it is not so. This is a time that is at hand. It has been prophesied, and it will come to be. If you go back throughout history and watch and follow the prophecies of this book, they are real and they are true. And this is a time. There is nothing that's going to save this nation of people but to be birthed and brought forth out of their captivity. Shalom.